there everybody. I've decided to do a little two-parter. So I'm going to see what's happening with Comey and the launch of the book, and then Steve Bannon. He's back. So I'm going to use my new gorgeous Celtic cards for Comey. Okay. So I have to say I never really warmed to Comey, not like Muller. I don't know, there was something about him in the Hillary emails and all of that. But nonetheless, he's obviously seriously upset at the way he was fired and has a lot to say about that. So let's see what's happening with Comey and the book. Comey and the book. Okay. Let me reach out for you there, dear viewers. I'm going to do two small readings on this. This is generally about the book. So, what we have here for James, first up we have the magician in the centre. Now, with the magician, this is someone who commands a great deal of attention and respect, but has capacity for transforming things. Now, Comey doesn't strike me as someone who has a huge imagination as such. He's certainly not someone you'd pick as being very esoteric and so forth. So in this, I take the magician to mean it's a game changer in itself, the book, but perhaps not as he set out for it to be. So I guess what I'm saying is it's not like Fire and Fury, which had all the salacious muck and sleaze and stuff going on. It's going to, I haven't read it obviously, it's going to be more measured than that. And because of that, it's actually going to have more weight long term. I don't expect it to be a page turner. See, he might not be as uptight and straight-laced as he appears. It could be quite a romping read, but I doubt that very much. But the other cards are suggesting to me it's extremely important, probably more important than I would have thought when I started this reading. It has longevity and it has meaning. So let's look at the other cards. Where I said the Hierophant. He's a man of the system. He's a man of law and order and so forth. So he's coming from that position. Underneath, the Three of Swords. That's the one in the Rider-Waite. That's the heart pierced by the swords. So Comey's was not just upset or angry about how he was treated and how he was fired. He was deeply wounded, seriously wounded. So he probably would have written the book anyway, but I suspect there's, if you read between the lines, and maybe even if you don't, his personal pain is all through this. Right. On top, judgment. So this is the judgment on Trump of the book by the law and order community and by those who want to persevere with what is happening in America today in terms of dismantling the institutions and discrediting the powerful organisations that have been the backbone of America, often for better or for worse, but have nonetheless been intrinsic to how America sees itself. So the judgment is there, and the outcome card is justice. So it's all about law and order, judgment, justice. So that says to me, probably not a riveting read, but it's very, 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 very important, perhaps more important than I've thought, you know. I don't know about the rest of you, whether you were hanging by your coattails waiting for the release of the book. I suspect not. But it's going to be around long after we've all left the mortal coil. This book actually has tremendous weight. Some of you have commented Madeleine Albright has brought out a book too this week on the warning signs of fascism. This, in a way, is a companion piece for that. It's like, America, this is really important, this stuff that he's doing to discredit the FBI, the CIA, the Justice Department. This is serious stuff, and this book will be looked at by scholars 50 years from now, 100 years from now. So James Comey, who I don't find the most scintillating man I've ever encountered, but important, really, really important. So you've got to give him a hand for that. Okay, so I'm going to do another little mini one now on the public reaction or possible political reaction. So the reaction to the book. That one was the big picture. We now know the book's going to stand up long term, but it doesn't mean it's going to be well received in the meantime. So I'd like to see what the reaction to the book is going to be. Okay. What's the reaction to Comey's book? All right, what is the reaction going to be? Okay, let me share these with you. So in the middle here, we have the Ten of Pentacles. Money, intergenerational money, things about money. It could be as simple as, look, he's going to make a huge amount of money just because it'll top the bestseller list, I'm sure. Some people will buy it who never read it. It will make money, but I don't think that's why he actually did it. But certainly money is going to be a payoff for it. He was inspired, this is the World card. Several things about this, I think. He understands this is a big issue that the world is interested in because other democracies around the world are being challenged. They're being challenged by Russian trolls, but they're also being challenged by the right wing, the alt-right, is gathering momentum. He feels that this is an issue globally as well as America. Even though he's, at essence, the all-American guy, it's bigger than that and he understands it. The other aspect to the world, which is the end of a cycle, is he couldn't rest till he put this book out. So in order to move on, he had to do it. Underneath the Death card, and again, the World and Death both have the meanings of end of a cycle or end of one way of doing things. It could also be he was worried that Trump would kill these organisations, cause the death of these organisations. But I think it's more that in a way, Trump represents the threat of death to these organisations rather than actually becoming a complete tyrant, literally a complete dictator, and actually them falling over. He sees it as a threat, a mortal threat to America. I also think that because, again, the justice card, so he understands what an important juncture in time historically this is, and he is very much at the heart of it in so many ways. Now, how this mini reading is about how the book is received, I should backtrack to death here. People will go to the wall to can this book, to absolutely can it. They will hate it. They hate it already and they haven't read it. So there is that aspect to it. Also, in the short-term outcome, the Nine of Wands. So here's the Nine of Wands in the Celtic deck. So there will be conflict about it, there is no doubt. Let's look at this imagery for a while. So there's wands or staffs going this way, wands and staffs going that way, and the upright one in the middle. So that could be Comey, or it could be the truth wills out in the end. But there will be a lot of talking, and there will be a lot of abuse, and there will be a lot of put-downs, if you like, the weaponising of the book. So it's going to be vastly unpopular, and I'm sure it'll be wall-to-wall coverage about how bad this book is, and Trump's tweets about lying Comey, as if he could accuse anyone else of being a bigger liar than he is. Absolutely amazing. So that's how I see the Comey stuff. So I think the book is probably going to be quite a dense read, quite a hard read, but ultimately worth it and very important historically. So that's Comey. Now I'm going to go back to the toss, because I think Bannon really is a toss man. And just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, he's reared up again. Let's see if I can ever get these cards out of the cloth. Okay. Now what's interesting about Bannon is we all thought or assumed he was on the outer with Trump for many and obvious reasons. But it turns out, as I understand it, reading different things this week, Trump's gone back to Bannon because he's so under siege. He goes back to the old Navy SEAL, you know, for strategic advice. And Bannon's going, just lock the door, you know, don't do the interview with the FBI, don't do it. He's telling him everything he wants to hear. So, Steve Bannon, I think one of the best readings on Steve Bannon has to be Kirsten Langston. If you haven't seen it, she did one, it'd be a year ago or more now. It's an 8-minute version of Steve Bannon. I think it's one of the greatest tarot reads of all time. So here's a shout out to Kirsten for that one. I just rolled around laughing. I had to watch it twice. It was just gold. So I don't aim to be in the same league in terms of this reading with Steve Bannon. We're just going to have a look at why is he being spoken about at all? What is he up to? Steve Bannon. Okay. Having a look. Well, Bannon. In the middle, money. Well, there's money all over this, but In fact, 4 of the 5 cards are about money. If you're talking about how people operate in the world and in the cosmos of low vibration or middle vibration or high vibration, this is really low stuff. It's not just low energy, it's low motivations. In a way, Bannon is like Ann Coulter. He has the education and stuff to know better and chooses to be a bastard, like she chooses to be a destructive bitch. And they share that. In the middle, he has the Queen of Discs, or the Queen of Pentacles. So the mistress of money. Beside that is the Prince of Discs. Now, Queen of Discs or Queen of Pentacles has been Rebecca Mercer in the past. We know she cut ties with Bannon. I think Bannon has either replaced her with another woman with a lot of money, or they've reconnected. And I'm beginning to think they've reconnected. The Prince of Discs, the Prince of Money. So with the Prince here, you notice it's a naked figure, very chariot-like, in a sort of chariot, charging forth with all the power of the bull. I think Bannon's got renewed energy. You know how he was very low-key, and even Trump said to him, you look like a homeless alkie sometimes, Steve. You know, you've got to get your act together. He's got renewed vigour for the fight. On some level, I think he always thought Trump was as dumb as a bag of hammers, but he also saw Trump as the vehicle to get the change through that he wanted. And I think that the legal stuff that's happening for Trump, Bannon genuinely sympathises with Trump over that, even though I don't think he actually likes the guy especially. So he sees a new role for himself here as the reinvigorated Prince of Pentacles. Underneath, sorry Steve, failure and delusion. So I'm quite relieved to see that. It's not going to stop him. You've got the 3 of Pentacles here. That's about group work. He's back in the saddle. He's working with people again. So he's been quite withdrawn and isolated. You'd have to describe what happened as a failure, a major failure in the political domain, but it hasn't stopped him. So he's got another woman with money, or he's back with Rebecca. He's out there, he's up for the fight, but coming out, ruin. So, and he's going to go down in quite a public way, I think. This is fire. It's got quite a big way. Fiery card. It's the 10 of Swords. It's playing with the legals. Could end up in jail, but I don't think so. Unlike the Rider-Waite, this has much more fire energy to it. I just think it's going to be yet another public ruin for Bannon. So there you go. All right, I don't say that brings me immense joy, but the surprise for me, both in real life, outside of the tarot and with the tarot, is how much he's back in the game. He's very much back in the game. But I think his time has passed. All right then, everyone. I'll keep them coming, doing my best. Thanks, guys. And thank you very much for the donations. I do so appreciate it. Thank you. Keep the comments rolling. Bye.